Hello viewers, and welcome to Pikmin 3 Deluxe, a bonus video this time where I am going to be going through this game's Piklopedia. Yes, it'll just be like the ones for Pikmin 2. We'll look at all the creatures of PNF 404, all the colorful forms they come in, and read the characters' notes on them. And there are a whopping 5 entries for each and every creature on PNF 404. One for Alf, Brittany, Charlie, Louie, and Captain Olimar. So this video might be long and boring. Just lots of reading. So, I mean, I understand if someone's not going to be fully invested in this, but I do it. I like it. It's fun to hear the different voices of all the different characters. So yeah, I mean, I guess we're going to start off with the female sheer grub. A staple, I think. We've got Alf's comments here. Structural flaw, the back. Yeah, so if you throw a Pikmin right on their back, they'll die instantly. They just weigh 1. It takes no time at all for them to emerge from their hiding places underground. They don't do much once they've surfaced, but you have to give them credit for being very efficient borers. Very efficient borers, huh? I'm gonna turn the music down a little bit. My poor ears. Oh, and they even tell you how many you killed. I've killed 18 of these things? Okay. Have you ever had a friend who startled you every time they approached? Oh my god! Dude, I'm always startling people. It feels bad. No matter how I approach, it happens. It's because I'm tall, I guess. And my voice is deep. Who always seem to come out of nowhere and scare you. That's what these remind me of. They don't mean any harm, but I jumped 10 feet whenever they show up. It would be sudden if a giant bug just burrowed out of the floor in front of you, that's for sure. The ability to hide underground and burst up to the surface whenever someone comes near, then retreat to recover again, just isn't fair. They'd be fearsome ambushers if they ever, you know, attacked. We can already guess what Louis is gonna be. Yeah! Oh my god, running joke throughout the series. Louis' entries are just about how to cook stuff. For an unforgettable quiche, is that how you say that? Slice this creature up and mix with 4 eggs, 2 vine-ripened tomatoes, diced zucchini, and generous handfuls of feta and Swiss. Bake until crusty and golden. This beast is most flavorful if caught and cooked just after laying its eggs. That is so nasty. Why would I want to eat a sheer grub? That's so gross. They're like maggots almost. And then Olimar is my favorite. Very scientific approach to these creatures. We have the sheer grub from the Himagia mandibulosa family. That's not the family, that's the fucking Latin name. From the mandiblard family. The males of this species are purple and black creatures with tapered mouths, while the females are lighter in color and lack an armored exoskeleton. As with most mandiblards, these creatures have regressed to the point where they have lost both legs and wings. They can be seen crawling around on the ground and are believed to feed on the vegetable extracts from the congealed fluids of expired Pikmin. Ew, okay. Interesting. There's a word for that in the animal kingdom. I can't remember what exactly, but damn. Let's see, what do we have next? We have a white spectralid. The white butterfly. Structural flaw, weak hide. You could say that again, Alf. There's a saying that a tiny design adjustment can cause huge cascades of change elsewhere in a project. It makes me wonder what effect our presence here has had on the planet. That is a question that begs to be asked, you know, especially since we're ransacking it for all its fruit. But, I don't think we'd have as much of a footprint as you might expect. I mean, it's a huge planet. We didn't get that much, so I'm sure it's nothing. So far, who knows where the series is going to go in the future. You'd think that with wings like that, it would float away on the slightest breeze. Maybe it's working really hard to stay where it is. If that's the case, it could have fooled me. I mean, it doesn't look that windy on PNF 404. It's a flighty one in both senses of the word, but even if it would stay still, I don't have the heart to unleash my steely fist on the poor thing. I wonder if it's possible to punch a spectralid in this game. I don't think they ever land at ground level, and even if they do, they'd probably fly away before you can get close. Remove the wings and drop straight into the deep fryer. Cook until golden, or until the enticing aroma starts to sting your eyes. Serve immediately. Dude, holy shit. Short but effective. White spectralids from the Phenistari alberprismatus. I keep thinking the Latin is the family. It's from the Flutterbee family. It's remarkably similar to its unmarked brethren, but the telltale wing patterns and lone pair of hind legs give it away. That's funny. So these are different spectralids from the ones in Pikmin 2 that didn't have any marks on their wings. I always thought they were the exact same species. It's just the leap in graphical, you know, prowess just made them cooler. Sorry, I got a random text I'm replying to. Okay. Interesting. It sticks to its own habitat for the most part. Though it may fly away to reach a flower or escape a Bulblax, it will soon return to its home. Nice to have the Bulblax mentioned. Weirdly, there are 0 Bulblax in this game that I can recall. If you remember in the last game, the only Bulblaxes we saw were the Empress Bulblax, the huge worm one, the Emperor Bulblax, the final boss of Pikmin 1, and the Fiery Bulblax, which was the Bulborb that is literally encased in fire at all times. But none of them show up in this game, which is interesting, because they're kind of an iconic enemy in my opinion, but no worries. I don't want to be texting during this. Okay, what's next? We have the Dwarf Bulborb, classic. Structural fall is the back, of course. Despite its compact form, it has a Britney-sized appetite. Careful, Alf. You can avoid getting swarmed by drawing them out, one by one, to be dealt with. Yes. It's big enough to ride, if only we could tame one. Imagine exploring an alien world from atop its native fauna. Sure beats having to walk everywhere. That would be so fascinating to see them riding Dwarf Bulborbs. Oh, that'd be interesting. They say to pick on someone your own size, and for these creatures, that's us. Someday it'll grow to be as big and bloodthirsty as its adult relatives. Why does everything have to get meaner as it ages? Why can't they get cuter? So, I don't know if this is Charlie's mistake or the developer's mistake. You probably know what I'm going to say, if you're a Pikmin fan, but the Dwarf Bulborbs are not related to the big Bulborbs at all. They're a completely different species. They only look similar because they have learned to mimic the larger Bulborbs. I guess it's a form of safety for them. So no, Charlie. These do not grow up to be as big as the others. For a blissful bisque, mince the entire beast finely and stir in with heavy cream, artichoke hearts, and a pinch of black pepper. Heat slowly until piping hot. Rich and creamy. Ugh, dude. Last thing I want to think about a Bulborb as is creamy. Olimar, correct the captain's mistake. Please, I'm begging you. Dwarf Bulborb, Panzarus pseudooculi russus. The breadbug family. I think he's gonna do it. Although initially identified as a juvenile Bulborb, groundbreaking new research indicates that this creature is in fact a member of the breadbug family. A close relative of the vanilla breadbug, it escapes predation through mimicry. Yes, I knew Olimar would not let me down. Unique adaptation of the Bulborb's crimson coloration allows the species to safely co-mingle. Such effective adaptation and obfuscation by a prey species is rare, indicating this clever creature is a master of mimicry. I've killed 36, damn. That's crazy. Here's the adult Bulborb. Oh no, it's eating Pikmin in the footage. That's terrible. Yeah, you can't throw carrots at them in this game, sadly. That was a fun part of the Piklopedia in the last game, but oh well. Only a very confident designer would wade through issues like bright red warning coloration and a tendency to sleep in broad daylight. There's no way a frontal assault on this thing will work, so we have to get creative. I'm thinking we should hit its back hard while it sleeps, or maybe target those thin-looking eye stalks. Very smart. The white polka dots on red is quite a look. Something about it is familiar, but where? Ah, right, it reminds me of the captain. Not the polka dots, I mean the way it snores as it naps in the sun. Why? She's always comparing Charlie to creatures. I don't know if we discussed this in the main series, but there's a weird love triangle type deal going on here. It's vague, but it is there. Charlie does have romantic feelings for Brittany. It's hinted at. More so in the European versions, interestingly enough. And the US version, it doesn't appear as often. But she does not like him back, that's for sure. It's kind of tragic. And Brittany totally likes Alf, kind of like as a sibling. She definitely views him as a brother. She calls him Alfie, you know. I think she might even say in one of her journals that she literally sees him as a sibling. Like, that's just not me saying that. And then Alf has total admiration and starstruck fondness of the captain. Like, I think we did see it in my Let's Play. Just kind of the admiration that Alf has for the captain and all of his past adventures. So, it's kind of funny they all have big feelings for each other, but none of them are kind of reciprocated. It's kind of sad, but, oh well. That's how the cookie crumbles. The Red Bruiser gobbles up Pikmin like candy. The standard approach is to attack from behind while it's still asleep. That may seem callous, but it would do the same to you if it could. Stow those feelings and strike. Good way to look at it, Captain. Plump specimens are best bit roasted whole, stuffed with a lime and a slab of bacon. Based frequently to ensure a magnificently moist haunch. A moist haunch? Ew! Also, what is it based? I don't think I've ever seen that word before in my entire life. Based? What action is that? I need to do some more culinary research. I don't want to be like the cliche guy that like can't cook for shit in his like mid-20s. But that's totally what I am. Maybe I can make that like a New Year's resolution. Just learn how to cook. I don't know. Bulborb. Oculus Kageyami russus. Grubdog family. This large organism has the familiar mandibles and cranial morphology of the grubdog family, as well as the characteristic bulging eyes. As with most grubdogs, the creature's cranium comprises half of its total length and girth, showing a scarlet abdomen with white spots. This creature is primarily nocturnal, choosing to prey upon smaller creatures returning to their nests. Originally classified as the spotty bulborb, further research has reclassified this species as the basic bulborb. Subspecies of varied colors have recently been discovered, but academics are divided into two rival camps over how to handle their classification. Olimar's logs are the fucking best, am I right? Interesting what he says about the skull, or the cranium rather. It reminds me, because I just finished reading the book Moby Dick, and similarly that's how whales are kind of built, like anatomically. Their cranium is like a huge part of their overall body compared to like most other mammals. Although I don't think this is a mammal, technically. But who knows? Here we have the Medusal Slurker. I believe I called it mistakenly a Medusoid mycelium in a previous video, and then I realized the Medusoid mycelium is from Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events. I got my fandoms crossed. But yeah, Medusal Slurker. The first one of these I came across had a rock Pikmin trapped inside it, and I've seen them engulfing small fruits, but it doesn't seem to be eating them. There's no digestion going on, at least. Is it just trying to make friends? I wonder what the base word Medusal means. Because it's interesting how they gave us the rock Pikmin, the stone Pikmin. And the Greek mythological figure Medusa turns people to stone? Like, what does Medusa mean? Surely it has to do something with stone. The polka dot motif on top of this translucent membrane is a striking look, especially with the puffball on its head accenting the whole ensemble. I could see a dress patterned after this creature being a big hit on Kopai. That is so funny, it kind of looks like a dress. Not that I'd be caught dead in one. Oh no, come on, it's even like a little pink. You like pink. That is funny. This cowardly blob holds Pikmin hostage within its own body. Its fatal mistake is not sucking up every last one of my little troops. The last survivors are that much thirstier for revenge. Well said, Charlie. So Alf kind of... I'm trying to get a handle on how Alf is tackling these logs. Brittany just describes how they look. Captain Charlie is more about how to fight them. Louis is how to cook them, and Olimar is just a complete scientific breakdown. But Louis here says that it makes for a tangy and fresh sorbet. Or is it sorbet? I don't know. Place in the freezer for 2 hours or until firm, garnished with a slice of candied lemon before serving. Okay. The Staromedusae manifoldii. I don't fucking know. The Umblota family. This is just fun to say. Most of its body is translucent and gelatinous. It drifts on the wind using the puff stalk on its head and captures passerby below with its adhesive manubrium. Dude, this series is still teaching me words to this day. It's been like 20 years. The purpose of this behavior is unknown, as examining its catches reveals no trace of saliva or gastric fluid on them. Well, that's good. That'd be gross otherwise. Unlike most aquatic jellyfish, it has no tentacles or nematocysts. Making it safe to handle. It may even be safe to ride in, opening up exciting new transportation possibilities. Fascinating. I do think that would be an interesting direction for the series to take, using the wildlife to assist you beyond the Pikmin themselves. You know, like branching out to other, Sorry, I read something. I'm like, my attention's, like, divided a little bit now. Sorry, I don't want to leave these people hanging. And I know this video's like, gonna be long anyway, that's why I'm more cool with it. Instead of, like, editing it out. We have the Scutterchuck next. Oh boy. It carries a heavy crystal on its back to throw at enemies, and I knew going in that we would probably need rock Pikmin to break it. I worried that doing so would cause dangerous shards to explode outward, but fortunately my imagination proved to be deadlier than reality. A missed design opportunity, if you ask me. So he's kind of thinking about how evolution and nature kind of evolved these creatures in a kind of like defensive / offensive way. I don't know. Because he is the engineer, so he's going to be looking at, you know, biology and organisms in a kind of design way, if that makes sense. All that strength, and the best it can do with it is carry around some big crystals. A better idea would be carrying my stuff. If I could tame... Wait. It would throw my stuff all over, wouldn't it? Never mind. She's such a diva. They're like walking catapults. The way they hoist those crystals in and launch them as if they were mere pebbles. A crafty adversary might lure them into launching the stones at each other or themselves. An adversary like me. Yes, I can't remember if it occurred in the story mode, but they can hit each other and themselves with the rocks, killing themselves instantly. Which is comedic in a really stupid way to die kind of way. An acquired taste, but really quite addictive once you get used to it. No special preparation necessary. You just eat it raw? It looks like a cockroach. That's so gross. That's so gross. Alright, Scutterchuck. Hyro Desiderit. Crystallosum. It's Hyro, right? Like Hierophant? Hyro Desiderit Crystallosum. The Heevel family. Instead of Dweevil, it heaves. Eheevel? That's really funny. Its main offensive strategy is to launch the crystal it carries on its back. Otherwise, it's completely defenseless. In most circumstances, it's a peaceful herbivore whose diet consists primarily of moss. When in danger, however, it wastes no time defending its territory by breaking small rocks and hurling them at the threat. In order to ensure it has a steady supply of rocks with which to defend itself, it shares its habitat with calcified crushblat larvae, so can make use of the shells they cast off each night. That is so interesting. If you remember, the calcified crushblat is the long-legged creature made of stone. Well, it's calcified. That jumps around and tries to flatten you. That makes perfect sense why these crystals just exist now. It's the shells that the larva cast off. Fascinating. Dude, I love that. That's great. Here we have the fiery blowhog. Classic Pikmin enemy. I noticed that sometimes... Yeah, where'd I get sometimes? I noticed that it needs a moment to inhale something from the planet's atmosphere before exhaling fire. Its internals must be remarkable to stand up the flames it produces. Though of course the red Pikmin's externals can withstand the same heat. If we could reproduce the process, it could be a great renewable source of rocket fuel for our ship's engines. Yeah, see, there he goes, thinking about, you know, design and stuff. Sorry, yeah, you guessed it, it's my phone again. Alright. I thought they'd be my favorite fauna. The idea of running into one in a frigid field or after getting soaked was nice, but it turns out they don't have a setting on those snouts below roasted alive. Scratch another brilliant idea. Wish you want to use it as a hairdryer? Like, come on. Be careful, this one will cook your goose. I don't know whether that's a nose or a mouth shooting those flames, and I don't care. What's important is that me and my troops are long gone when the fire hits. Yeah, Captain knows the GTFO when this thing shows up. Roast this flavorful beast for several hours, letting it stew in its own succulent juices. Don't worry about overcooking this beast. It's scorch-proof. Okay. Fiery blowhog, Sus Draconis. Draconis. Reminds me of Dracarys from Game of Thrones. Which makes sense, because dragons and fire breathing. This creature expels a volatile phosphorus compound from its snout that combusts upon contact with air. This fire-breathing ability is dependent upon the air-to-fuel ratio at its mouth, catalyst reaction within the expelled compound, and purification of the compound. Thus, it is highly unlikely such a complex process could cause the spontaneous explosion of a fallen blowhog. This process is also perhaps to avoid risk of spontaneous combustion in the belly of a live specimen. See, this is just fucking genius. I love these articles, dude. And I really appreciate they didn't just reuse the ones from Pikmin 2 for Olimar and Louie. That makes me glad. That makes me very glad. Armored Maudat, our first boss. It takes a small army of rock Pikmin to make a dent in its reinforced crystal shell. Destroying the shell completely is slow going since it burrows into the ground every time it comes down from the walls. It's too bad we didn't have the tools to adapt the pieces of its shell into armor for the SS Drake. That'd be kind of cool. The crystal all over its body is one of the most beautiful things I've seen on this planet. How people would stare if I could make a spacesuit out of it. Though maybe they'd only be staring because I'd be in a translucent suit. Yeah, that might be one reason, Brittany. I'm so proud of my crew for managing to take this beast down without me. Oh, that's true! Charlie never saw this thing! That's funny they acknowledge that. Charlie never witnessed this thing. It's especially impressive because they did it without my combat training or steely fists. It's good to know I set such an example for them to live up to. I love it. Best enjoyed fresh. If the legs aren't twitching when you put it on the grill, don't bother. Ugh. Dude. Tuberclipium, I don't fucking know. Rex. Rex? What does Rex mean? Maudat family, and makes its home inside the hollow stumps of enormous trees. The name is derived from the hard shell covering its entire body. As it grows, it can only molt its shell by slamming into rock walls to shatter it before forming a new one. It has a voracious appetite and doesn't hesitate to eat anything that it sees. The contents of its stomach are often a surprise. Yeah, like a giant cell phone. Or a mobile phone. I feel bad saying cell phone, it was pretty archaic, but... yeah, fascinating. Oh, we have a yellow Wollywog. Another classic. There are definite signs of intelligence in this brute. It always faces its prey first, as if to gauge the distance, before jumping into the air for a stomp. If you don't move while it hangs for a moment in midair, you could lose a lot of Pikmin. It's big, but not strong. As few as 5 Pikmin can weigh it down so that it can't jump. Rock Pikmin also have nothing to fear from it. Yeah, they can't be crushed. Very helpful. Look at that thing. It's so bloated. I feel that way too sometimes when I can't stop chugging down juice. I had to lie down for a while after that, but this thing keeps jumping. I bet it gets the worst cramps. Yeah, maybe. I don't understand how it manages to hang in the air at the height of its jump, but I don't have to understand. I just have to get out of the way, and its weird hang time helps a lot with that. Let that be a lesson. Don't stand around gawking at a creature's weird attack moves. Do something about it. It's cool they acknowledge the way they hang in the air. There's some cartoon physics there. Or not, because look at jump. It fills with air, and then it falls when it releases the air. Go back and watch that, it's interesting. Beer batter and deep fry for a down-home flavor you won't soon forget. Beer batter. That's a verb? You can deep fry something, or you can beer batter something? Yelwywog, the Amphicarus frodendum, Amphibidae family. This magnificent specimen has the brightest gold coloration and the greatest number of lateral spots of any member in the Amphibidae family. The species seems to have lost some swimming proficiency with the evolutionary adaptation that granted it the greater jumping ability. The Amphibidae inhabits aquatic shallows and shows an instinctive drive to jump upon and squash smaller creatures. Bruh. What a mouthful. Some of these are a mouthful, dude. I'm just saying. Oh, the skitter leaf. I'm in love with this camouflage job. It looks like an ordinary leaf fallen from a tree, and then wham! It starts to move and takes you by surprise. We can learn a lot from the way it uses protective coloration to blend in with its surroundings. I'm thinking of redesigning our spacesuits, or maybe even the SS Drake's hull. That could be helpful, camouflage. Not only do its body and limbs look like leaves, its beady little eyes remind me of fruit. I don't see the point of all that camouflage when they startle at every single thing that gets close. That's true. No point in being camouflaged if you're gonna run around like crazy every time something dangerous goes near. It's kind of funny that she mentioned that. It's totally harmless, but sometimes there is reason to defeat one. When that happens, the best we can do is be merciful and land one solid strike on its back. Poor thing. The superb amalgamation of juicy meat and leafy greens ensures that the skitter leaf will be the new spinach. I don't think it counts as a vegetable or a leaf if it's camouflage. Right? It's not like a leaf bug in real life is made of leaves. It just looks like leaves. I'm not crazy, right? Skitterleaf, Rus pseudo-arbicans. I love that. The skitterling family. The skitterleaf is a relative of the pond skater that shed its wings and adapted to life on the ground. With no residual traits of its airborne past, the skitterleaf can neither fly nor skit across the surface of the water. The wings have since evolved into the leaf-like structure on its back, which serves to hide the skitterleaf through mimicry. It appears quite effective, as few predators can see through this clever disguise. I guess if you get close enough, they have to run, but... Here we have a whip-tongue ball boar, where you can see the range of its attack here. Look at that! Oh, it's terrible. It's like an anteater. This model has a surprising feature. I'm very impressed at the speed with which it employs its long, flexible tongue. Though I'm also dismayed at its unnerving wakefulness and the difficulty we seem to have sneaking past it. Yeah, they don't sleep like the other Balborbs, which is one interesting thing to note about it. Not a fan of this one's style. Too plain, too beige, and too big. Where's the little version of this guy? It's gotta have one, right? Though maybe not. After all, I don't have a little version of myself. What an astute observation, Brittany. It's really funny. That long tongue isn't just a sensory organ, it's a deadly weapon. It uses that thing like a pro. I tried some exercises to see if I could get my tongue to do that, but I kept biting it by accident. Always in the same place, too. I hate that. The comedy is so great in this series. Because you do always bite your tongue in the same place once you do it once. I guess it's because it swells. And then it's easier to bite, right? That just makes sense. Pat the tongue dry, then coat all sides with a spicy dry rub of your choice. Grill over high heat until the outside is perfectly crisped. Thank you, Louis. You have the Oculus... Oh no. The Oculus longilingua grub dog family. Instead of the gnashing jaws usually found in related species, it uses its extensible, viscous tongue to capture prey. Even before it opens its mouth, it's recognizable by its tapered snout and black spots across its white back. Some theorize that it's evolved its long tongue to snatch prey drawn to high-blooming flowers, but others point out that no infant specimens have ever been seen, suggesting a radically different biological branch. What the fuck? That was a lot of information to process. It has only recently been reclassified as a part of the grub dog family. Interesting, so it wasn't seen as part of the grub dog family beforehand. That's fascinating. That is fascinating. I gotta pause the video. Sorry, I'm having a really funny conversation. I'll be right back. Alright, I am back. Let's continue on here. I have no idea what's next. Oh my god, my Joy-Cons are upside down. Oh, the Fozbat! Oh, but it's the baby Fozbat. Let's see here. I've never seen a substance that completely dissipated under bright light before. Is it because it's a newborn and not yet fully formed? It's kind of macabre when you think about it, that we just blasted the newborns with light and they melt. The front legs and wings are still a work in progress, but they make up for that with numbers. Oh no. My tongue is getting tied. If you ever see something in a dark cave that looks like an egg, my advice is to destroy it while you still can. They're so cute when they're young. How can you say no to those little chirpy noises and big, wet eyes? Shame they grow into something so awful. Makes me wonder what the captain was like in his youth. That's like the second time she compared the captain to the behemoth Fozbat, which I'm sure is next. That's so funny. This timid little guy was the first wild creature I met on this planet, besides from the Pikmin, I guess. I can't blame him for being scared, though. I freaked out a little when I saw those glowing mushrooms. Wait, no, forget that. How do you erase stuff on here? Wait. Sorry, Captain, that's gonna be in the log forever. Perfect ingredient for a hot pot night. Add to the broth while no one's looking for best results. Add to what? You're gonna spike the broth with Fozbat juice? Jesus Christ, Louis. How have I killed 75 of these? Have I really killed 75 of them? I wonder if that's counting all my playthroughs or just the one attached to this file. The Tectupervis Pteromes. I'm sure that P is silent. Aerodentia family. This infant stage of the behemoth Fozbat has underdeveloped wings and cannot fly yet. It is Sciophilus. Oh, hi. Sciophilus, I don't know what that means, from birth to the point where even the low light of the common glow cap or a light bulb will cause it to vaporize. The chromatophore excretions that the adult Fozbat uses for camouflage are overwhelming to its fragile, infant form and causes apoptosis in excessive amounts. There is at least 3 words in this description that I don't understand. Christ. My own lamp does not trigger this reaction, possibly because its light is the wrong wavelength. Interesting. Oh no, the Fozbat pod is next. I did not expect this. I have so many questions. Where does it get the resources to manufacture all of the tiny models? Stop describing animals as like robots. And why does light cause it to stop working? I've heard of solar power machines, but this one seems to be solar powerless. That's true, it's just on stone, and there's no light or organics anywhere. Try to break the egg, and the adult Fozbat will come screeching right for you. As ugly and mean as it is, it does care about its little ones, so you can't call it all bad. That's the thing, these creatures aren't, you know, nefarious or evil, they're just living. Makes it a little bit sad when they die, just a little bit. It is them or us. The downside of these things is that they never stop pumping out nasty critters, but the upside is that if you stand next to one long enough, you can get some good combat training in. I'd take one home to generate sparring partners, but they stop working as soon as light hits them. Okay, you can slurp up this beast's eggs right from the shell. With a sweet and velvety texture, they melt in your mouth. Gross! Ugh! That is so nasty. Fosbat Sack. That's funny, that's the first time Olimar's called it something different from the Piklopedia entry itself. We have the Fosbat Pod and Fosbat Sack. The Tectupervis pteromus, Aerodentia family, the behemoth Fosbat's egg sacs are found affixed to surfaces around its lair. Each sac spawns roughly 5 baby Fosbats, stopping when enough pheromones are in the air to trigger its automatic response. This keeps the population density of the Fosbats in any given cave at a sustainable level, which is important given the limited supply of food available in its habitat. Fascinating. I had to pause the video again there. Dude, I started recording a long video right when I started a conversation with someone, so that was kind of bad timing on my part, but it's fine. It's not gonna affect the quality of the video or anything. The behemoth Fosbat himself, we're finally seeing this thing. Fun fact, this was the first boss that was shown in the promotional material for this game, and when I first saw it, I got so hyped. I thought it was the coolest looking enemy ever. I still do think it's pretty awesome looking. Alright, it uses some powerful suction mechanism to vacuum up its prey, but what interests me is how it's nearly invisible in the dark. If I could replicate the effect, it could be huge for stealth systems on our ships. Excuse me. I'd also love to figure out how the captain managed to survive inside this creature for so long without food or water. Yeah, how many days was it? Like 5 or 6? But that's more of a biological problem, not my field. It looks mean, but it's not so tough in the light. Why do you think it moves so slowly? Did it get indigestion from trying to eat the captain? Let's see what the captain has to say about this. He literally lived inside the belly of this beast. This is the thing that swallowed me. It may play dirty, but I respect its willingness to use any trick in the book to win. I'd accept a rematch anytime. It was more comfy in its stomach than I expected, but I'm still glad my team pulled me out when they did. I owe them a round of juice when we get back to Kopai. Oh, man. I'd be traumatized if a living creature swallowed me whole. Like, is that just me? That is highly disturbing. Lightly bread and fry whole. Wait. Lightly bread and fry whole. Okay. Slather a brioche bun with remoulade? Remoulade? Then top with fried beast and a handful of arugula. Serve with a lemon wedge. Okay. I see you, Louis. I'm picking up what you're throwing down, alright? We have the Tectupervis pteromus, Aerodentia family. It is forced to live in darkness due to its extreme photosensitivity. The specialized chromatophores on its skin can absorb faint light sources to turn completely transparent. Its wings and spines are covered in mildly toxic scales that paralyze small insects until it can inhale them with a powerful vortex. Often, creatures that evolve in darkness have atrophied eyes and albinism, but that is notably not the case here. It does, however, share a tendency to only venture out at night with other cave dwellers. Very cool. Oh, back-to-back bosses here. We have the sand-belching mirror slug. It mostly stays below the sand, but sometimes sticks its head out to lob balls of sand at Pikmin. If they're hit and stuck in the sand, they don't have any good defenses against it digging its hole beneath them. It reminds me a little of going to the beach and how older kids would bury me in the sand. Oh no. I miss those days, but I've got to focus on saving Kopai for now. Oh. He made it sound like he was being bullied, but the fact that he misses it makes me think it was for fun, so that's better. I try to get close and it just hides in its dumb sandy hole. So I move away and it still hides behind those sand balls it's always tossing around. What's it got against me, huh? Maybe the fact that you're trying to murder it? The area where we found this creature was practically a paradise. I still want to go back there and swim around in the sand with my rubber ducky. Maybe the crew would let me do it if I called it a training exercise. I always found it interesting when pieces of media refer to tropical locations as paradise, because I live in a very tropical area, and it kind of makes me feel nice. I live in a paradise. I always thought the arena for this boss reminds me of places I visit frequently, so that's cool. You know, the palm trees, the sun, the water, the sand. These are crowd pleasers. Soak overnight to remove remaining sand. Slice cleaned meat into thick pieces and place on grill. Then apply a generous coating of barbecue sauce and cook until sticky and crispy. Not gonna lie. His logs are actually making me a little hungry. Some of them are really unappetizing. Okay, look, see, it says I killed 2 of these. So the count must be for every playthrough I've done on the Switch. So I must have played through this game twice on the Switch by now. That makes sense. The Gastropoidae anguilli, the mearslug family. This giant limbless invertebrate has a distinctive large orifice. It sets a cone-shaped trap in its sandy layer and waits for prey to fall into it. The main orifice serves as both mouth and anus. What? Ew! When it inhales sand, the grains go through its intestinal canal and come out polished and hardened when they are ejected. It's sensitive to sound and vibration. The best time to catch it off guard is when it jumps out from the sand after being startled. So it upchucks everything that it eats. It's just a full circle. I'm sure there's plenty of creatures on our planet that do that. I'm sure it's more common than you would think. Oh boy, here we have the shaggy longlegs, a mini-boss. Got a lot of bosses in a row here. Its fur insulates it not only from the elements, but also from attack. To strip away the hair is a long process that requires you to dodge its crushing legs, but it's the only real way to get at the monster's vulnerable core. I haven't yet solved the problem of how it sees. For one thing, there's all that hair in the way, and for another, I don't see any eyes. Yeah, it is weird. Maybe they have some other sense other than vision. The noise when this thing moves around makes my ears hurt. It's only slightly louder than the captain tromping all over the ship, but I like the tufts of hair all over its legs. It looks soft and comfy, but I'm into the shaggy style. Okay. Interesting. Nope. Okay. Talk about a tough nut to crack. It's too big to go down quick. It stomps on Pikmin like bugs underfoot, and its only weak spot is guarded by a thick nest of hair. We can get at it by ripping the hairs out one by one, but just the idea of doing that to something makes my own hair hurt a little bit. Yeah, ripping the hair out? This poor thing. Now that you mention it. Caution, do not eat? Why not? Yo, what happens if you eat this thing? The Pseudo-Arachnia capillum, the arachnord family. Thick hair grows on its spherical center as well as its joints. One would think it's there for protection, but it's a simple matter to pluck the hairs out. Several coloration variants have been cited, most likely due to regional characteristics rather than stress or advanced age. They normally sit docile above trees, but will descend to scare off intruders with loud footfalls. This is the classic, like, jump scare enemy, right? They're very unexpected, that's for sure. Alright, I stopped the recording there to, like, devour some Cheetos. I was getting hungry. Okay, and I was gonna, like, chew in the mic while I read. I can do that. Baldy Longlegs. Is this different? Did it lose its hair in a fight, or was it born bald? As ruthless and tough as it is, it also seems a little pathetic. So the Baldy Longlegs doesn't really show up in story mode, at least initially, before you pluck the hairs. But in the bonus modes, there are some Baldy Longlegs. They're just, you know, shaggy Longlegs that don't have any hair to pluck out, so it makes it easier. I prefer its sleek look to the hairy one, which made me sweat just looking at it. They could both stand to be cuter, though. Oh, what if it was covered in wool? Just a puffy Longlegs. They say the best defense is a good offense, but getting rid of all of its hair to focus entirely on stomping around might have been taking it too far. Still, I can always respect a warrior willing to commit all the way. Hell yeah. Not as tasty as it looks, completely inedible. I guess you can't really eat the arachnords, according to Louis. Fascinating. The Pseudo-Arachnia calvitium. Technically, this is merely a shaggy longlegs that has lost its hair, but since the hair never grows back, this is considered a separate species and classified under its own name. Interesting, it never grows back. It has similarities to the beady longlegs, but it doesn't secrete wax from its exoskeleton and thus lacks its cousin's unique patterning. The absence of wax also allows small insects to climb its legs without slipping. Its central orb splits horizontally, but researchers have yet to determine the significance of this difference. It's fascinating how they acknowledged the difference between the beady longlegs and the baldy longlegs, like how you can't climb the legs of the beady longlegs, and how it used to smoke at the joints because of the wax, and how it opens horizontally instead of vertically. Or vice versa. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Great attention to detail and continuity. The iridescent flint beetle. This thing's design changed more than any. It reminds me a bit of a prize dispensing machine, only instead of putting in coins, you throw Pikmin, and instead of toys, you get pellets and nectar. That's a good way of putting it. The pop quiz of indigenous creatures. You might think you're ready for it, but when the time comes, you're probably not. There's no penalty for failure except missing out on neat rewards, which is basically torture. Oh yeah, there's no penalty, just torture. Finding one of these critters means it's your lucky day. If you can manage to hit it with Pikmin, it'll drop pellets and nectar. All you have to do is wait for it to stop and then press the attack. That's right, Charlie. An essential flavor accentuating ingredient in gumbo and jambalaya. Also delicious in soups, broths, and marinades. Okay. The Pili envelopens striaticus. The flint beetle family. Oh, flint beetles are nocturnal, choosing to hide in the grass by day and stay active at night. These creatures keep undigested food pellets in their stomachs to sustain them through the winter, but given the right stimulus, they will spit them out. Recent research has revealed that these pellets are enveloped in a membrane that seals and preserves them in a sterile, airtight environment. If kept at room temperature, it seems that this pellet membrane will keep its contents fresh up to 6 months. The membrane may be made from the same substance that gives the exoskeleton of the flint beetle its beautiful sheen. The specimen is a subspecies of the previously documented species, recognizable by the variant pattern on its back. Yeah, okay. Sure. The arachnode, new enemy. Fascinating one. Oh, it just ate that poor winged Pikmin. The creature's most dangerous weapon isn't its jaws, it's its web. Anything that touches the web, such as thrown Pikmin, gets stuck and must be quickly rescued before it's eaten. I've seen its web trap winged Pikmin and withstand blows from raw Pikmin, so those fibers must be tougher than they look. If we could build a suit out of them, I could be that tough too. Interesting idea to turn the web fiber into suits. Be quick and you can whistle to get Pikmin unstuck from its webs. If you're feeling daring, you can touch the web to lure the arachnode away, but if you're on the wrong side, you'll see your Pikmin get eaten in front of you. That's sad. This is a tricky one. We can't charge it until it moves, but it doesn't move unless it senses prey in its web. Since I mustn't risk the lives of my squad, there's no other choice. I must volunteer to be the bait. Good luck, troops. My life will be in your hands. You know, I actually do wonder if you can throw a captain into a web. I don't think I've tried that before. If they would get stuck in it or not. I am kind of interested in that. Huh. Pluck off the legs, crack open, and savor the meat inside. Ugh, dude. Barbaric. Dip them in soy sauce first for a nice mix of sweet and salty. We have the Clavofictosphaera. The arachnid family. Okay. This spider-like creature has distinctive yellow stripes on its back carapace. It spins webs in high-traffic areas and waits for prey to plunder into them. Unlike its relatives in the Arachnorb and Dweevil families, it's ambisexual and has 8 legs. Some theorize that its gynandry is meant to aid in reproduction, though of course it cannot reproduce on its own. There is another theory that the species is in fact 2 organisms of opposing genders stuck together, but since no one has ever found a 4-legged single-sex specimen, this remains speculative. That is really interesting, and it reminds me of love bugs. We get a lot of love bugs down where I live, and when they mate, they connect to each other indefinitely, and they function as a single unit from then on. 2 heads, you know, double the amount of legs. They even fly around attached to each other. So that's kind of what this reminds me of. Fascinating. Next we have the desiccated Skitterleaf. This thing actually got me a few times in the story mode. This is good camouflage. When you see a lone green leaf on the ground, that's suspicious, but a lone dead leaf? Nobody looks twice at those. Very well thought out. Dead leaves are good. You can turn them into mulch and plant fruit trees, making something great out of something gross. The Pikmin know what I'm talking about because they love dragging these guys back to the onion to do the same thing. These cowards act like dead leaves, then jump out and attack the Pikmin while we weren't watching. The only defense is to treat every dead leaf you see as a mortal threat. Sure, it's tiring to see danger everywhere I look, but that's a small price to pay for saving lives. I don't know, bro, that sounds like a life of misery. No preparation needed to enjoy this flavorful beast. Its natural crunch gives way to an intriguing mouthfeel. I gotta admit, full disclosure. Real talk. When I was a kid, I used to eat leaves. I'm not afraid to admit it. I like the crunch. Obviously, I stopped, but when I was a kid, that was just a thing I did. And so, some other kids eat sand. Like, I never did that. Can you imagine that? Alright, desiccated Skitterleaf, the Rufus amortifiulia. There's too many vowels in that word, man. The Skitterling family, the Skitterling variant that resembles dead leaves. Its legs have developed in specific ways. The front claws capture prey, while the flat hind legs are suited for running and swimming. Its highly tuned senses keep it still for any creature but Pikmin. Once it gets its claws on its prey, it doesn't easily let go. Recent research has revealed that its camouflage has a second purpose beyond hunting. Scavengers are fooled by its disguise into carrying its eggs, thereby expanding the population. Wow, so the eggs hitch a ride on the scavengers. Cool, very cool. Kind of like how bees help pollinate. The nectarous dandlefly. Love it. There's no need to attack these gentle flying creatures, but the nectar they drop makes it tempting to do it anyway. Wait until the right moment in its circular flight pattern, then toss a Pikmin at it. If you hit one of the nectar nodules, it'll drop a little bit, but hitting the head will make it drop them all. I feel a little bad about stealing the nectar it stores up, but we need to survive too. It's a good point, Alf. I'm positive that if we follow it long enough, it'll lead us to the source of all that nectar hanging off its belly. Big fruits, here we come. Hang on, didn't we just walk through here? Does this thing fly only in circles? It does. It just flies in a big circle until you take care of it. Look at him, flying around like he owns the sky. All that nectar hanging just out of reach. Well, I'll get the last laugh. It may be out of range of my steely fist, but I've got some winged Pikmin who'd like a crack at it. He's always gotta mention his steely fists. It's so funny. Tear the meat right off the belly and eat raw. The bitterness of the meat really highlights the sweetness of the nectar. Dude. The Anisopterid ambrosius dandlefly family. Its life cycle comes in 2 stages. First, it hatches underwater, where the amphibious larva preys on tadpoles and other small aquatic creatures. After it grows large enough, it takes to the surface and completely changes its diet to focus on plant nectar. The more nectar it feeds on, the more segments form on its abdomen. Upon reaching 5 segments, it is a mature adult ready for procreation. Its straw-like proboscis. I always thought it was proboscis, but it's proboscis. Proboscis? I don't know. Curls upward to prevent reflux from the nectar it stores. So its mouth curls upward to stop it from vomiting? Okay. Oh, the burrowing snagrid! I love this one. Its bulk and speed make it a very fearsome model. It's very difficult to retrieve Pikmin once it's snapped up in its beak. However, if you can dodge its beak as it comes down, the beak sharpness works against it as it gets stuck in the soil. That leaves the head wide open to be pelted with Pikmin as fast as you can. Interesting. I've never seen the bottom half of one of these. I have all sorts of ideas about what might be under there. It could be a long snake tail, or a big plump body stuck underground, or maybe, below the neck, it looks just like us. That is so funny. That is really funny. I highly doubt it's true, but that is really funny. Now, I get that it's big and that big things are scary, but that twisty neck can't twist all the way around, so all you have to do is get behind it. Once you're there, pour on the winged Pikmin and you're golden. It's funny that they have different attack methods against the Snagret, Alph and Charlie. I do like that. Slice the serpentine torso into thin medallions, skewer on a metal rod with hokotate onions and barbecue over an open flame. Makes it sound so, like, riveting. This is like the most verbal Louie's ever been in these logs. I guess he's not speaking, he's typing. We have the Chiroptes anacondae, the Snavian family. The majority of Snagret species lie in wait to ambush and capture prey with a body type perfectly adapted to such sudden strikes. It violently attacks small, surface-dwelling insects. Distributed across a relatively wide range, subspecies of Snagret suited to the varying soil conditions have emerged, making the Snagret the most geographically represented species besides the Bulborb. Visually resembling the burrowing Snagret is the burrowing Snarrow, the range of which partially overlaps with the Snagret's range. Okay. Well, the two may... What? I'm sorry, that went... I didn't quite process that. The range of which partially overlaps with the Snagret's range. I don't get it. While the two may appear similar, when pulled from the ground, they can be distinguished by the presence or absence of tail and wing markings. Nice. I've killed 260 of these. Oh man. These buzzing swarms are rare but dangerous. Normal Pikmin aren't built to handle these insects. They'll just get carried off. Use winged Pikmin instead. If only I could whistle just the right tune or pitch, I bet I could get them to carry me around this planet. I'd only need one, but I'm sure it would take a lot more to get Alph or the Captain airborne. I don't know, Alph's pretty small. These swarms of tiny terrors are well organized. Then again, so are we. I'll put my leadership skills to the test against their numbers any day. Pikmin, fall out. Roast over a low fire until golden brown. Add a pinch of salt and set out as an appetizer or perhaps as a simple aromatic centerpiece. Okay, cool. Scornet, the Sporgitis advenus. Hunt and Peck family. That is funny. That's funny. Hunt and Peck. Oh man. These highly social insects always travel in groups. Each of them has a unique role in the colony. This type is a small, though still adult, worker female. Rather than lay eggs, they spend their lives carrying out the queen's will. In response to their queen's sonic commands, they move in unison as if they were a single entity. To see them dance through the air is a sight to behold, but don't look too long. Their stingers are deadly. Scornet Maestro. Maestro. It takes real charisma to command such a large team. It's a lot like our captain that way. For instance, well, there's... Maybe not. Oh no, Alph is losing the starstruck quality that he has for Charlie. I'd like to listen to that pretty sound while I eat some fruit. It looks to be well taken care of by the surrounding little bees. I envy that. I suppose I've only got Alph and the captain. I could only do a half of what I want. Wait, what? What? I don't get it. The Maestro leads a whole swarm of Scornets flying in perfect military formation. My leadership over the Pikmin might not be that tight, but we do okay. I put my whistle up against this gal's harp any day of the week. Slice thin, fry until golden brown, and serve when cool. Sprinkle the crumbs on top of a creamy clam chowder to give it a little kick. Just give it that little kick, you know, that little extra spice to it. Oh man. Known for its striking lyriform mouth. Lyriform! That is so cool. It does not settle at a particular nest, but migrates across the waters in search of food. In the spring, the Maestro awakens from its hibernation. Before the advent of summer, she travels with a male partner to the cooler climate of the mainland where food is plentiful. The male is smaller than the Maestro, with a white body and blue feet, back, and tendrils. It has no wings and thus cannot fly. Interesting. The Maestro secretes a pheromone to control workers to carry out its commands, which it uses via complex musical cues. When the Maestro is no more, the listless and directionless workers perish along with the rest of the colony. Very, very sad stuff. Tragic in a way. Alright guys, I'm gonna end the video here. This is daunting. I just looked at how much more is left, and we're not even halfway done, so, that'll be it for this video. Even if no one watches these, I still think it's fun to read through them myself, to the camera, so, yeah, I'll probably do another bonus video on this Piklopedia in the near future. Thank you guys for watching. This is very interesting stuff, and I'll see you in the next video, whatever it may be. Farewell.